For the last 1 week here on India Today, every single day we've been keeping our eye on the Sandalwood murder scandal, getting you detail after detail of exactly what happened to Renukaswamy. What did actor Darshan, actor Pavitra Gowda and their aides, their henchmen actually do to Renukaswamy that led to his death? We have those details today, and it's not for the faint-hearted. Some of these images are far too gory for us to even show on TV. So we've chosen a few just to give you details of the kind of torture that was inflicted on this young 33-year-old. The body that was found, a ear was missing, seemingly cut off. His lips were missing, the skin off the chin pulled off. There were marks on his back, cane marks, clearly has been hit repeatedly by Darshan's aides. There were images, in fact, of how his testicle was ruptured as a result of assault, as a result of sheer barbarism. There's no other way to put it. That is a picture of Renukaswamy's arm. He had a tattoo on his arm, and to cover that up, he was electrocuted, was given electric shocks. There on his chest, you've got bruise marks as well as cut marks, all of that also on the body. This is how Renukaswamy's body was discovered. And clearly, when the cops saw this, they knew that he was tortured, he was assaulted, beaten to death. Brinda Adige, activist, is joining us on this broadcast. Brinda, these pictures, when you see them, really sends shivers down one's spine, because this establishes beyond any doubt that Renukaswamy was tortured in the most brutal manner possible before ultimately, unfortunately, dying as a result of these kind of injuries. And it really tends to, raise questions on how actor Darshan, how his henchmen actually perpetrated this kind of horror.
You're absolutely right. What they have done with Renukaswamy is everything that they act out, play out in their movies. They have done exactly all of that without an iota of remorse, no fear of the law, because all of them have had this in their heads that they can do anything with this man, and nobody is going to question them, nobody is going to challenge them, nobody will register any case on them, and they will not be punished, because their guru, their leader, Darshan, has always got away. And it is not for the first time. Years ago, he was violent with his wife, and she came all out, filed an FIR and everything, and this fellow was jailed, but then it was closed because of compromise. Over the period of time, we have also seen that he has had several road rage and has been violent with citizens on the streets and elsewhere, some kind of a police complaint, and then all silent. He's a powerful man with powerful connections, and with politicians as well as the bureaucrats, everybody who are aiding and supporting somebody like Darshan to get away. So his impunity has increased, and his fans think that he is also a hero in real life. But what they don't realize is today he's going to ask them to take the blame. They are not remembering, or they are not thinking of their own family. If this boy, this Renukaswamy, another fan of Darshan, brought all the way from Mysore, stealthily telling lies that he's going to be meeting Darshan, and all of them beating him up. In your channel a couple of hours ago, it was also mentioned that his testicles were ruptured. So they didn't spare Renukaswamy one bit. They tried everything on him. So they didn't want to simply kill him. They wanted to torture and kill him. So they planned and executed all of this with precision, brutality, gory, barbaric,
very true,
impunity.
No, and I think what this essentially shows is how emboldened they felt that they'd get away with this kind of a crime. That's why we've chosen to show those pictures also on our screens, to highlight the level, the extent of violence that Darshan and his aides, his henchmen, his goons used on Renukaswamy. There were many who suggested that, they wanted to give a warning to Renukaswamy and nothing more. These pictures prove clearly that he was murdered. He was beaten to death. He was assaulted, inflicted the worst kind of torture till he passed away from the sheer pain that he was made to undergo. So at this point, hopefully, and we're seeing that fortunately in Karnataka, that the police are ensuring there's no go slow, no pressure is going to work, and that's the good news. At this point, they're going forward, steamrolling ahead with this particular investigation, because have no doubt in your mind, Darshan is extremely powerful, extremely influential, and perhaps thought he would get away with inflicting this kind of a torture on a young man. It's because of the police and the work that they've done that today Darshan is behind bars. Hopefully will pay the price for the crimes that he and his gang of his die-hard fans have committed on a fan of Darshan, on Renukaswamy. I want to bring in Sagar Raja also on this broadcast, who's joining us live from Bengaluru. The kind of details, Sagai, that have emerged in this case, whether it's in the remand note or in the form of these pictures that we now have of Renukaswamy's body, it's, chilling to say the least. And it's clear that these were goons who took law into their hands, believing full well that they had this perfect plot where they'd get away with the crime, that never would Darshan's name actually come out.
Absolutely, and the larger question is this the first incident? Are these guys habitual offenders? Have they assaulted anybody else before Renukaswamy? Because the kind of torture Renukaswamy has gone through, that clearly shows that this is not someone who is immature or someone who is new to assault someone. So they might be done much before they could have even assaulted Renukaswamy. Maybe they are habitual offenders. They would have taken people to the shed and would have assaulted even before this particular incident. Probably this incident had come to light when police need to inquire if there are any other incident reported, something like similar to Renukaswamy, where they have assaulted anybody in the shed. Because as we access the remand copy, that clearly shows that the behavior of all this murder accused were inhuman, especially with Renukaswamy, where they threw him on a wall, where they gave a current shock, they have assaulted him using a wooden block, iron rod, and everything possible which was there inside the shed. Not only that, he was a vegetarian, and according to police sources, they forcefully fed him non-vegetarian food. When he refused to do that, they assaulted him, they kicked on his chest. So these are reports which emerging clearly shows that these are habitual offenders and inhuman, and probably they might have done a similar kind of incident even in the past. Probably this has come to light because the police was quite active, and they immediately got into action.
No, you're right, Sagai. This doesn't look like the work of a first-time criminal. These are seasoned criminals who've targeted Renukaswamy. He's been caned. You can see that the cane marks are on his back. There are bruise marks all over his body. His skin has been ripped off from his face. There was a tattoo on his arm, which they covered with electric burn marks, clearly. So they've done that so that his body couldn't be identified immediately. That's not the work of first-time criminals. These are seasoned criminals who've thought through the entire murder plot of how to cover up their tracks, of how to get away with what they thought is a perfect crime. But hopefully all of them involved in whichever manner possible in nabbing Renukaswamy, bringing him to Bengaluru, murdering him in this gruesome manner, all of them have been caught and will face the tune of justice. Thanks very much, Sagai, for joining us with those details. All right, let's bring in Anaga Keshav also on this broadcast, who's been tracking the latest on the investigation as well. Anaga, so far we've seen the police really, doing a commendable job of tracking all of the accused down, nabbing every single one who's been involved in this case. The focus is still on actor Darshan, who reportedly is confessed to attempting to cover up for his crimes. But at this point, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has also made it very clear that there's no pressure whatsoever. And I'm sure there were attempts by Darshan to try and influence the investigation, to try and put political pressure, because he does have quite a bit of clout in Karnataka.
Well, that's right, Akshita. Cutting across all parties, be it BJP or Congress, Darshan has a lot of political friends who are sitting ministers. And there were reports that they were mounting pressure on the Karnataka Police Department to go slow and sort of save Darshan and somehow get him out of this case. However, the Karnataka police have stood strong. They've said that we are going to go ahead with the free and fair investigation. And what we have learned, according to our police sources, is that Darshan has confessed that, yes, I did give give 30 lakh rupees to cover up the case. However, he's yet to fully confess that he is the one who has committed this murder. Those words have not yet come out of his mouth. But so far, this is a very big breakthrough, Akshita, when it comes to this matter for Karnataka police. Darshan agreeing on record to the police that he did give 30 lakh rupees. So that's the first step for the Karnataka police. The next one will be taking Darshan to Mysore to recreate the crime scene and to take him to every single crime spot where he went pre and post the murder. All these details and data will be collated by the Karnataka police. At the moment, they have seized the shoe that was worn by Darshan at the time of murder. So if the tissue sample between Renukaswamy and the shoe matches, then that, Akshita, would serve as a very solid piece of evidence. More details to come, in the coming days. The interrogation is only going to intensify, and once it's proven that Darshan and his partner Pavitra were involved in the murder, make no mistake, there's going to be no stone left unturned. Darshan will be punished, is the assurance coming in from the government.
Just a quick follow-up question to that, Anaga, which is that it's not just this case now. There are many prior cases that are being reopened now against Darshan, many of which he tried to kind of hush up using his power, using his influence. Today, the focus is on those cases as well, including his house, which could be demolished.
Well, that's right, Akshita. Truly a bad time for actor Darshan, because back-to-back cases. One is that his house was built on a stormwater drain. When it comes to Bangalore, even if it rains for 3-4 hours, there's complete water inundation. And there are many reasons that can be attributed to this. One is the flawed infrastructure that Bangalore has. And one of it is attributed to high-rise buildings being constructed atop stormwater drains. And Darshan's residence is one such posh house that's constructed on a stormwater drain. So that's why BBMP has stated that we are not going to spare anyone, no matter how influential they are. If they've illegally constructed their building on top of a stormwater drain, we are going to go ahead and raise it down, was what the Deputy Chief Minister also said yesterday.
All right. We'll track the latest on that. Also, parallel investigations taking place. And at this point, authorities using this as an opportunity to reopen cases that Darshan used his influence to shut down earlier. Thanks very much, Anaga, for joining us with all of those details.